a negotiation point between us and Brakebush, but it's going somewhere on their property.
Yeah, that covers a large area.
It will, well, I'll put it, it will be as close, it will be as close to their plant as they allow us to site it.
Well, it could be on County J or it could be over on M.
The combined heat and power plant, it will be as close to their proper, to their manufacturing buildings as we can get it, as they will allow us to put it.
Yeah, that doesn't really answer it.
People like Kraft Foods, it's from where they have production to where their power plant is, you can walk across the parking lot and it's right there.
Right.
That's, I mean, that would be our, we don't have that worked out, but the shorter the distance, the better, because you don't want the
They're not gonna
thermal.
put it miles away.
We cannot put it miles away.
Right.
Are you gonna have like a substation or anything in between the lines on the way to Brakebush? I mean, you turn the corner, you're gonna have a building there to connect the lines. Is it gonna be solid?
The generators would have a step-up transformer that would then connect into the existing Brakebush system.
She's asking about the
Oh, the
pipeline.
pipeline.
Oh, the pipeline?
Pipeline turns around.
No.
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 Any valve shut off or anything like that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We would probably have a valve box in the middle for safety purposes. It's not required. We'd probably be along County E someplace, about halfway.
This is future thinking, but so the way these systems work is you have your biodigester over at the dairy, and then you have your power generation center over at whoever's consuming. But the pipe is going, is it 15 miles or 10 miles between here and there? Does it ever happen in the country where you would go, you know, right next to Mara Moran's property is a nice flat 80 acres, kind of central to a lot of dairy farms. Maybe we could just site a digester there, and then the trucks could pull in, and then we could do it that way. Does it ever work that way, or we
No, well, yeah, it really doesn't, because the cost to move the weight of the substance is 10, 20 times the cost of moving the gas. So you always want to put move the heavy stuff the least possible distance.
but there are digester projects where you have the Dane County digester, for example, has 3 dairies that are piping their manure a relatively short distance into one digester. We were just down in Indiana yesterday, and there's 9 growing to probably 12 dairies that are using the same digester, but they have if they can't pipe it or have it directly located next to it, they're having to use honey wagons and bring stuff across, you know, Interstate I-65 and all sorts of things. So it all there's a number of different ways to do the same project. So yeah, there's probably 100 different permutations of how people are doing it. We're taking the unique circumstances that Wisconsin offers us, and we're making the best of that situation by creating gas in one location and power in another. And we're just using the pipeline to connect the facilities together.
I can't tell you how thrilled I would be if I actually got benefit from that gas. And I know from the previous meetings that that's not possible, but the pipe were going past my property, and the pipe came to my house, and I actually had lower cost green energy, I would be the happiest woman in the
You know, actually, we'd love to offer you to do that. We have a legal problem. We're not a public utility. So if we offer ourselves out to even this group and say anybody that we pass will give you gas, we now have to register as a public utility with the state, and We Energies, which has the exclusive right, monopoly right, to serve any gas in this area, we have to get permission from them to release you as a customer to us. And it would take probably 5 years, at least, even if they would, and they frankly probably wouldn't do it. Even if you were on propane, they just wouldn't want us to damage their franchise over this service territory.
they would have a 2-word response. The first, the 6 letters, the first word would start with an H. The last one would end with an O. So part of the reason, Ed, little editorial, part of the reason you're all paying more than you should for electricity and gas is because we are a monopolistic state. So next time you talk to your representative, your senator, your congressman, tell them to allow for exactly what she said. We should be allowed as consumers to buy power from whoever we want to at the best price. So I'm going to get off my soapbox now, but the reason we're paying more than we need to in Wisconsin is because we don't have freedom to buy from whom we wish.
See, if you made gas, we can take your gas, but if it goes the other way to sell you gas, we can't do it.
So, any other questions? Sir?
Okay, who's going to be overseeing all the environmental part of this? There's
Well,
three restricted weed plant species growing on one. And when that stuff gets all dragged up, 2 years down the road when it's growing in everybody's yard, a lot of this stuff is basically toxic. Who's going to have to take care of it?
We shouldn't disturb almost nothing on the soil. So the spade, when it goes in, you know, it'll be put down. We're not digging a trench. If it's drilled, there'll be a little hole that, you know, you drill under, but it'll have virtually not zero, but minimal impact on the surface.
But the construction path here is like 33 feet. You need an easement?
Right, we have a
easement?
temporary easement just so that we could park equipment or put some material out, you know, beside the road.
But you didn't really answer my question. 2 or 3 years down the road, if this stuff is growing, is somebody going to be there to monitor it like the first 1 to 3 years? Are you going to be using like the state best management practices? This is like logging. This is basically like logging, and you guys
We're not going to log anything.
No, it's like logging. The state has a manual.
We're going to follow the regulations for pipeline installation, maintenance, and observation.
If we dig a hole, we'll put the top of the hole back just as it was.
Right.
We're not going to plant anything or
Remove anything.
remove anything. We might damage a set of corn because we have to put some piping down and we'll reimburse you.
No, I had talked to the state on this, and they said that this is basically like logging, and typically it's called best management practices for that you should be following them putting in this pipeline.
As long as we're on the
as
roadway,
disturbing the soil in there.
As long as we are on the roadway, that doesn't apply. That's only cross-country pipeline.
Okay, and there's like no wetlands in this? No state?
We're going to be 4 feet off the roadbed. Unless the roadbed's violating something on wetlands, we wouldn't be anywhere off the roadbed.
Can I ask what plants you're worried about?
What, the 3 restricted species?
Yeah.
Wild parsnip, spotted knapweed, and garlic mustard.
Okay.
And they're all on fawn, so when this stuff gets trenched in a certain direction...
Not trenched. We're not trenching.
No.
Okay.
Knifing it in, yeah.
Right.
So essentially the soil, you spread the soil apart, the pipe goes in, the soil comes right back, whatever's on the top other than what the tractor kind of sort of squished down.
I know the equipment these days is, about as good as it's going to get. What about a fence line? Now, where is property fence lines going to go from the center of the road?
Should be 33 feet off.
Yeah, well, if there's a fence line, and this is a good question. I mean, we're going to drill under trees and things like that, but every now and then there's a fence that gets damaged. We will pay to have it replaced or repaired. Any damage we do, we're required by regulation to make it as it was or better.
That's along the county road also?
That's in the federal
That's the
DOT
entire
rules.
pipeline. Yep.
Somebody already in there,
Right.
Whatever your property looks like,
before the pipeline comes in, it will look like that when it comes. If there's an obnoxious weed on your property, guess what? Michael's is gonna plant an obnoxious weed back on your property. They plant whatever is in there. I mean, they have all these people that come in.
I don't think we're going to be planting any obnoxious weeds, but frankly, you're approximately right. If we have a whole